Hello guys, welcome to another video. We're going to talk about what happened at the COP26 and most important, the news on Article 6. The negotiators have reached an agreement on Article 6. Right now we have a draft, but this is expected to become the new Article 6. First of all, basically, what happened at COP26 except from Article 6? We have the agreement on phasing out of coal. This is not very specific. Some countries have committed, some others have not. So all in all, a very weak commitment as expected. Then we have emission reduction targets for the 1.5 degrees Celsius degrees. Some commitments, a lot of non-very specific stuff. But this is not so much relevant for us when we talk about carbon investing. What is relevant is the news on Article 6. So what are the updates? They agreed that the carbon credits from after January 1st, 2013 can be transferred over, that they can be used in the markets. So good news for everyone who was holding old credits. This is for the compliance markets. Basically all the changes that came were for the compliance markets. The second news is about corresponding, so that the nations can work more closely together. They have not really put a framework in place for international carbon market, for international platform. But as far as I understand it, the carbon credits are now more easily interchangeable. And they stop double counting. That means that the credits cannot be counted in the host country and in the purchasing country. It can now only be counted in one country. So the host country can decide if they want to keep the credit for their own emission reduction goals, or if they want to sell the credits to another country. Or I think this is also true for companies, which has implications for the voluntary carbon markets, as we will see later. And this all has to be supervised by a UN supervisory board if they want to trade the credits. So a bit of bureaucracy in between, but overall easier to share the credits. And they made an agreement of the share of proceeds. That means that 5% of each credit goes into a fund for developing nations. So they're gonna melt the carbon credits a bit for money, basically a taxation on the carbon credits. We could say it's a tax on the tax. And they're gonna cancel 2% of all credits to reduce the supply. I could not really understand why they thought this was very smart, but you know, it is what it is. These are politicians. And so they're going to reduce the supply by 2%. I assume this will be each year, 2% of the credits will be cancelled. So what does this mean? What does this mean for carbon investing? What does this mean for carbon credits? I think, first of all, we're going to talk about the compliance markets. I think overall there will be more credits needed since we now don't have double counting anymore. That means basically we have half of the credits. And so for the compliance markets, this will mean even less supply. This should lead to a price increase. If we look at the carbon emissions futures from the compliance markets, we can see the price has gone up during the COP26 negotiations. Also, after the announcement, the price has not come down, which means that this is a good sign for the compliance markets. However, what about the voluntary markets? In my personal opinion, since there is no more double counting, there is a bit less incentive to work together, because now the companies and the countries, they have to decide which one will get the credit. So I think at the moment this will throttle a bit the voluntary markets. As we can see, for example, Carbon Streaming Corp, the stock price fell. I don't know if this is a coincidence, but I think voluntary carbon markets are in a bit of a problem after this. However, the demand will still rise, but I think this will complicate things a bit. I don't know if you guys followed the COP26 announcement. What do you make of this? I want to know, what do you think will happen with the voluntary markets? What do you think will happen with the compliance markets? If you want to, you can post it in the comments. I would be happy to interact. If you like this channel and if you want to stay up to date for the carbon credit market, like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.